Nikola Jokic has a pretty incredible story, and he just capped off an amazing season. A dude who, when he was drafted in the second round, it wasn't even televised. I think they had a Taco Bell commercial instead because nobody really thought this dude was going to do anything in the NBA, yet here he is. 2 straight NBA MVPs, probably should have won this year as well, and now he's an NBA Finals MVP, leading the Nuggets to their first ever championship. But some people in sports media are not happy about that, specifically because Jokic is white. That's the big problem for so many people. We saw that happen with Kendrick Perkins earlier in this season, and Kendrick Perkins undoubtedly tainted the MVP vote. I don't think there's any doubt about that because Kendrick Perkins lied. He tried to call people racist if they voted for a white player for MVP. It's truly disgusting. But now ESPN is continuing down that path. Take a look at this article on Outkick from Bobby Burak. ESPN posts racist article about great white hopes, Nikola Jokic and Larry Bird. And this is, again, from Bobby Burak. ESPN writer William C. Roden has 35 followers on Twitter. He's never written anything particularly thought-provoking or credible. He's a 73-year-old black man and a race grifter. The premise of each article he prints is the same. White people are racist, and it's okay to spew racism back at them. In sports media, you can last decades doing so as long as you're committed. And committed Roden is. His latest op-ed shows just how dedicated he is to inciting unjust racial animosity. Look at this quote talking about Jokic and talking about basically white people. My issue is not with the proclamations of Jokic's greatness, but with the premature coronation of Jokic as the greatest ever, the greatest of all time, the best center the NBA has ever seen, the best of all time. Of all time encompasses a vast universe and can only be assessed at the end of a career. There are many more miles to travel before Jokic sits on top of Mount Everest with the greatest of all time. Well, the problem is no one's saying that. Not a singular person is saying that about Nikola Jokic. You can research articles, you can look at that, like you can try to do whatever you want. You can search Twitter, you can search all these posts. Nobody's saying that. And in fact, in his entire article, never once does he state who says this. He never cites anything. He never shows any evidence. He's making it up to try to make people think that people are saying this simply because Nikola Jokic is white. It's weird that in a league that is dominated by black people, like, let's get it straight. The vast majority of people in the NBA are black. All of the top elite players, for the most part, are black. There's nothing wrong with that because guess what? They're the best players. They're the most talented. They're the ones that can produce the best on the court. There's nothing wrong with that. But when there's a white dude who can also go on the court and produce the same way, there shouldn't be some big backlash from especially people in the media. Black people in the media seem to have a problem with this. It's really weird how that works, but it does continue on. Again, no one is calling Jokic the GOAT. No one's calling him the greatest center of all time. They are looking at an incredible season. A dude who led the playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists, all the triple doubles, all the stuff he's able to do on the court. It is incredible. Like, it's unique, from that position. But I don't think anyone is calling him the greatest of all time. Roden fabricated in his head that white people call Jokic the GOAT as a means to express his disapproval as a white player infringing on majority black league. The racialization of Jokic is opposite of how it's framed. White people don't shower him with complaints. Instead, he's the most undercovered superstar in decades. Even Dan Le Batard admits it. Instead, black writers and former players cover Jokic with a negative connotation because he's white. William Roden, Kendrick Perkins, and Mark Jones are avatars of the movement, using dog whistles to discredit Jokic's rise. Roden, Perkins, and Jones tell customers that white people overpraise Jokic in hopes their followers will abhor Jokic for being white as much as they do. Again, look at this. In March, Kendrick Perkins, the former NBA player turned television analyst, committed the unpardonable sin of suggesting that racism played a role in Jokic being pushed for a third consecutive MVP title. Perkins mentioned stat padding, but that comment put him in hot water was racism. The great white hopeism contributed to Jokic's elevation. Perkins' assessment was not entirely wrong. An intense pushback he received was evidence that Perkins pricked a familiar nerve of race and racism in the United States. What a fucking joke. He even in this article goes back to Larry Bird and tries to say that Larry Bird, just another guy, using an old ass quote from when Dennis Rodman was on the Pistons, I think, about Larry Bird. Tries to diminish the legacy of Larry Bird, say just another guy. Yes, It's okay to just shit all over white people, to shit all over white players, to try to discredit everything they do if you're a black writer in the media. What an absolute joke. Again, Nikola Jokic had an incredible season. There's no one out there that's calling him the greatest of all time. Is it a great season? Absolutely. Should have won MVP this year? Probably. He won MVP the last 2 years in a row, missed out on it this year. Joel Embiid couldn't even get past the semifinals, and now here we are. Jokic with the title in his hand, NBA MVP, and an incredible run for this Nuggets team. But no one's calling him the greatest of all time. It's just more racism from ESPN trying to gaslight people into thinking that's the case. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.